Hello, and welcome to another episode of Thrive Like a Parent podcast. Today I'm trying something different with Carter, and that is usually we know the topic we're about to sit down and talk about. He has no idea what I'm about to ask him about. He did say earlier he has an idea of what I'm going to ask him about or talk about. So I want to know what you think it is.
My brother?
No.
Okay.
I thought of this topic while we were on vacation over Thanksgiving break, and it's a little bit heavy of a topic, just warning you. But with the holidays coming up, that tends to be a really hard time for plenty of people mentally and emotionally. And I don't know how he's going to react to me telling him what the topic is about. And he may say, I'm not fucking talking about that. And we scratch the podcast. But a lot of people hear the lens from me of what it's been for me to have someone in my life that's taken their own life. And I knew more than the average person because Jonathan was my husband. But right before Thanksgiving, you got a call or a text that a friend passed away. And I feel that it would be a very interesting perspective for others to hear what it's from a friend, to know what you're left with when someone chooses to do that. And I think that because so many struggle during the holiday season, to hear from someone or to listen to this, if someone is feeling that way, to possibly think about what they're leaving behind and the ones that love them could be extremely important to hear and listen to or think about. So if you're okay with it, I would love for you to share a little bit of the backstory.
I'm not fucking talking about that.
You're not?
No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Cool. She gave me the option.
I did give you the option. It's a very personal thing.
Yeah, I guess a couple weeks before Thanksgiving, I did. A friend of mine from back home reached out and told me that a mutual friend of ours had died. And so I did, I guess, what I normally do in these situations and start reaching out to other people to try and figure out what happened. And it took a few texts, a few different people, and then somebody told me he had killed himself. And that was, at the time of hearing it, I was almost numb to it because I've known at least, as I sit here and think of their names, at least 3 other people that have left this earth in the same way, the same method, and then probably another 3 to 5 that have taken their lives that I've known. So death has, in a way, become something I've almost become numb to when I hear it. It almost is not even surprising, and that's not a normal response, but that's just the amount of people I've lost in my life. That is what it is. Okay, somebody else is gone. What happened? This one was particularly hard after the fact. I hadn't seen this guy in a few years, but I had spoken with him off and on. I mean, since I left Memphis and he moved out to Colorado, and every now and then we'd run to one another if we both happened to be in the same city. It'd probably been at least a good maybe 4 or 5 years since I had seen him in person, but had just exchanged some conversation with him week and a half prior. Really pissed me off. To this day, I'm still not sure why he did it, but it really angered me. And I've worked through the anger process of the grief of the loss since, but I was angry because especially the conversations we had, conversations in him knowing what I do, men's work and things of that nature, knowing that I work with people who are emotionally and mentally struggling, and he just never said a word about his own problems. And I'm not mad in the sense that he didn't pick up the phone and say, I want to work with you. It's nothing like that. I'm mad that there was never a conversation remotely close to, hey, shit's getting dark. Nothing. I think the last thing I got from him was some humorous political meme in Instagram a week before. And then, find him in his backyard.
I appreciate you being willing to talk about this. I think it's twofold. I think it's 2 reasons. Number one is there's plenty of people who are left behind with closure that will never happen. And I think it's really important for individuals to know that feeling is normal, or the anger is normal. But also, I think it's important, again, for people to be reminded around the holiday time, the anger you feel is because you would have helped.
think people feel anger because of many different reasons. Personally, yes. For me, I'm angry because conversation maybe could have changed. I mean, we're playing the what if game when we get into that. But, other people in this situation, you may feel anger for different reasons. You may feel anger because you had conversations and they didn't help. You may feel anger because you tried therapy and it didn't work. There's so many different layers, and having clients, every person is different and every person's feelings will be different in how they react to the loss of someone, regardless of the how.
How does it feel for you to know that a week before he passed, he was sending you political, memes, and then this happened, yet he never reached out to say, "Hey, man, I want to talk. I'm struggling." How does that feel as a friend?
Confusing. It feels very confusing. Because now I can only speculate. Was he sending funny things to lighten the mood of the darkness that he was in? Was this a just split-second decision that he hadn't considered before? I'm just left with a ton of questions, and I'll never get the answers to them. No one will.
And how does it feel to know that you won't ever have that closure?
If we're being honest in the moment, I just have grown to accept that. Sure. Based on how many times I've been through this scenario with friends, people I know. I think the first time this happened, it was really hard to come to terms with why, what was going through this person's head. Why would they do that? How could they not consider anybody else? I used to view suicide. My view on it flops back and forth at times, sometimes really cowardly. And then other times, that's extremely courageous in the sense that this person just decided, fuck it, I've had enough, and I'm going out on my terms. There's almost no greater sense of control of your own actions than to choose to do that. But at the same time, then I teeter back. Is it though? Is it a bravery thing, or is it you're scared shitless? I think it can honestly be a mix of both, as I've really dissected it more, because it does take a lot to do that, I would imagine, to make those decisions and to be, this is it. But also, it is a very afraid individual of getting the help that they most likely desperately need. Or you're even just talking about it, just having a conversation and being vulnerable enough to express, hey, I'm having some really fucked up thoughts and I think I may need to talk to somebody. Will you listen? It can be as simple as that.
I think what sparked this for me was there were so many people who Jonathan left behind with no answers. And I would say many friends, all of his work colleagues, had absolutely no idea, and it came out of left field. And the week after, mostly all through Thanksgiving, you just would randomly be thinking about it, and you'd say, I just don't understand. He knows I would have listened. He knows I would have listened. He knows that if he had picked up the phone, I would have talked to him. And there were individuals who said that about Jonathan, specifically his friends. It seemed even his friends were reaching out and he was pushing them away. But I think, again, it's so important for people to understand that the ones who you may not think will listen, if you're in that state or if you're struggling and you choose to open up and say, hey, I need to talk, or I am really struggling. Yes, that takes courage. And I think that some don't have that courage or are really struggling so badly that they can't see the forest through the trees to even reach out. But what it does is it leaves others behind, confused, angry, sad, frustrated, pissed off, and mostly sincerely upset that they didn't lean on you. They didn't lean on them, their friends, or support or loved ones. And it's important for people to know that people want to do that. People are here to help. And I think that was a frustration for you if you knew that you would have helped. What would you say to individuals struggling during the holiday season? The ones who are maybe isolating or shutting down or shutting people out or not reaching out or not asking for help?
I'd say I can relate at different points in my life. The holiday seasons are hard. There's stress. There's travel stress. There's financial stress. There's family stress. There's, work stress. That between Thanksgiving and New Year's, it's just go, 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 go. You know, a lot of people are playing catch up, or they're going to go into the start of the year playing catch up. There's just so many things that can put people into depression, put people under stress, put people into isolation. They just can't take the overstimulation of the
holiday season.
yeah, the mainstream commercialization of whatever you celebrate.
Yeah.
Just this whole month. I think the advice I would give, if you find yourself in these positions, any of them, pick someone that you are comfortable reaching out to. Pick someone that you know will not judge you. That's not going to just make you feel worse for being open and vulnerable, and talk about it. I say this a lot, but you know, I on public posts I put on social media, I'd say the same thing. And if you don't have anybody, shoot me a message. This is not a sales pitch. This could be a save your life move. And that's not something I take money for. So I put that out there because you lose so many friends. It becomes something that's just important to you, that it's not a business move. It's, hey, if you're in the depths of it and you have no one, please reach out. I'll be that ear. But if you have people in your life, I said, someone you can trust that's not going to be judgmental, that's going to accept that you're really struggling, I would advise you to reach out to them first. And then two of you can kind of come up with a plan. And if both of you think that you may need additional resources or additional help, there are options for that. But I would start within your inner circle if you have one.
And if you don't feel comfortable reaching out to others that you know, there's been a handful of times where people have reached out to me, probably because they know the intimacy I have with taking your own life. But there has been people who have reached out to me in the past, one a few weeks ago, and I checked in on this person and said, hey, I think let's get you some help. And the next thing I know, she was sending me a picture of a bracelet that she was at the hospital. And I told her I was really proud of her for doing the right thing for herself. And this was literally a cold reach out. She and I had never spoken before. And that takes bravery. And we don't know who sees or hears our podcasts or our reels.
Yeah, I had someone reach out when we were on the road traveling, and made sure to make it a point that, you know, if this was something that was of urgency and could not wait, hey, I'm on the road, I can call you if we're at that level. And this individual was not, and was okay touching base after our trip. But
yeah, I don't think that means that just because Carter and I have experienced loss in this way, I don't necessarily feel that means that we are experts in terms of getting you out of that state. I think that's a really important distinction to make. However, there has been a handful of times that I have been the ear or the text that can help you get through that dark spot that you're in. And again, I think doing this was for a multiple of reasons because of the holiday season, but also if anyone is feeling that and then hearing how it affects the ones who love you that are around you, my hope is that it gives you hope to feel that love and support from your friends and family enough to stick around and enough to reach out.
yeah, you'll never know the hole that's left behind when you go.
Yeah, it is. I appreciate you talking about this. I knew it was going to be a heavy one springing this on you, but I think it's an important one. And whenever we've talked about this, it's always been from the lens of my experience, but I was an insider, right? And talking about it from an outsider's perspective of this was a friend of mine. Did we see each other every year? Did we see each other every day? Did we talk every day? But this was absolutely a friend of mine, and how it affects the ones around you and impacts lives. Because we do care. Thank you for talking about this.
Sure.
And until next time, take care of yourself through the holiday season. If you need anything, reach out. There are also hotlines that can help. And we wish you nothing but the best in this holiday season.